And Johnny, let's segue into part 2 of this discussion where if you're on YouTube and you did not hear part 1, make sure I'll put it above Johnny, where we looked at the Batman, who will be Batman, and we went a good long, I think like 40-some, 30-some minutes on that topic. But what I wanted to kind of break off into its own topic so that it didn't get kind of swallowed by everything is... Actually, before I get into that, make sure to check out patreon.com/mostavailablepodcast. Help support the channel. We cannot do what we do without your support, and we love our patrons. $10 tier, you could join a Ricky and Johnny podcast and talk about whatever you want to talk about here on the podcast. But Johnny, now let's get into it. I forgot I had to do that.
Yep.
And so the Batman has its date, June 25th, 2021.
Yes.
And there was an interview with, I believe it was The Hollywood Reporter, that I watched. I played it for us before the podcast, of Patty Jenkins from Wonder Woman. And she was asked about her and director James Wong, who did Aquaman, if either of them would be, like, could do a Justice League film, and if she'd want to do a Justice League film. And what she said, her answer to me was interesting, is she said that she hopes that DC kind of pushes Justice League down the road. Like, not to the point where we never do one.
Yeah, but good time right now.
But don't do one yet because of, like, think about what we've had. We've had Wonder Woman. Aquaman's a good self-contained story.
Yep.
We're going to have Shazam in April of 2019. Birds of Prey, which we're going to talk about next. We get their teaser trailer. That's going to be February 7th, 2020. And then Wonder Woman 1984, which is going to be June of 2020. The other films we got, The Batman, like I said, June 25th, 2021. Suicide Squad, the second one, August 6th, 2021. And then right now, The Flash has been pushed back. That is now looking for a 2021, maybe a 2022 release date. The thing I want to ask you is everything about the Batman that we talked about with the movie. Now that we have a release date, we know that it's going to be a self-contained, like, Batman story. How does this affect the other DC movies? Not just the ones that we have, but even, like, the ones that we've talked about even. Like, for example, the one that's not on there, the Green Lantern movie, that's supposed to be a buddy cop movie that Jeff Johns is still writing, which is a buddy cop movie between Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan. Does this news that we found out about the Batman, and now that it's happening at this date, does it affect the future DC movies at all?
You know what? I try and get this straight. So, is this the new Batman movie coming out supposed to affect anything?
Yes.
Okay.
Will it
I just want to make sure I got that
Yes.
right in my head. You know what? With what it sounds like they're doing so far, no, not necessarily, because it's supposed to be a younger Batman. So this is more like a flashback movie, sort of like both Wonder Womans are supposed to be.
Yes.
So it really doesn't touch, like, let's say it's just a main timeline. This is where the Justice League is. Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Batman, Superman, etc., etc. Everything branches off, and everything still interconnects at some point, which I guess a tree is a bad way to go about it, but we'll stick with that for now. Wonder Woman's is just like, hers were both flashbacks. It doesn't affect anything. It is what it is. It's its own separate stories. And then Wonder Woman is the thing that makes it part of the Justice League.
Yeah.
Well, same thing with Batman. It's just, this is a side Batman story that has nothing to do with anyone else. The most it does is say, you know what? We're better at making all individual stories. We'll come back to a Justice League when we've got more people set up and ready to go. Like, I think they should wait till at least after a Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Get the Flashpoint movie done.
Give the Flash his own movie, period.
Yeah. Give the Flash his own movie first. I can go give or take on Cyborg. Because really that's the only other member left. Henry Cavill / Superman has had his own movie. Figure out what you're going to do with him since he's gone now.
Well, there's also rumors that if they did a Justice League 2...
Yeah.
that Henry Cavill would be interested in coming back as Superman for that movie.
Just for that type of thing. So sort of like what Hemsworth will do after his movies are done with
exactly with Marvel.
Marvel, yeah. He's like, I'll come back for a Thor movie or whatever you want me to do. But anyone else with acting, I'll wait. I'll hold off. But yeah, so I mean, if it's that situation, yeah, like make it down the road, or see if we want to go off like the cartoon version. I don't know how close that is to the actual comic book one.
Okay,
you can bring Henry Cavill in. It's going to be a lot of CGI, but at least like if you get his face motion capture and stuff, and like mostly you have to green suit him or gray suit him, so you can be that really thin Superman.
Yeah,
like
the one that we saw. That
Spoiler,
was like
sorry.
white suit from Flashpoint, where basically they captured Superman and kept him underground.
Yeah, exactly.
And he has not been getting radiation from the sun.
He has not touched the sun, so that's why he's like spindly and weak. And I mean, you can recast someone else to do that too if you wanted. Maybe someone that's like more of that body shape, or you can just do what they did with the original when they did it to Chris Evans in the first Captain America one. They basically superimposed his face on a smaller body.
And so I'm kind of conflicted because...
But I don't think overall, to answer the question, I don't think it's really going to mess with anything.
I think it's going to affect, but not in the fact of like how you thought it. Or you're saying, oh, it's not going to change. It's not going to change anything we have.
Yeah.
I just think with me, and you kind of hit on it with Marvel, I feel like DC was a victim or the major casualty to the universe era in films. Because think about it right now. I saw an article yesterday, which the Blumhouse films, which is like the Jason movie, the Halloween movie that came out, the Happy Death Day, like all these horror films, that apparently they're teasing at a Blumhouse universe between these horror films. And I'm thinking, I'm like, come on.
Not everyone has to have a universe.
Like, let's be honest. The major casualty was Universal because their monster universe didn't even get off the ground.
Yeah,
before
it was
could fall.
one movie.
It just fell right away. Thank you, Tom Cruise. But like, DC was our first big hit from the kind of universe craze where everyone after Marvel's like, that's how we get success. We make a universe, we get it together, go, 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 go. And DC felt forced, obviously, because DC and Marvel are always linked in the superhero genre. But I look at it, and I want to ask you this question. It's not a major question, but just a thing that came off my head while you were talking. Did Marvel get lucky? Like, think back to the Avengers Phase 1 movies.
Yeah.
Is it bad to say that maybe Marvel just got lucky? That A, it was a hit, and B, they were able to turn that idea of movies into a 10-year... Like, nobody else... It's not like people wake up... Like, if it was that easy, everyone would be doing what they are doing. A little bit of it has to be luck.
To a degree, yeah, but I think what happened is, like, all their cards came in the right place. That's when... In the way they're lucky is, like... They got Kevin Feige, got the Russo brothers, and they got like all these people.
Robert Downey Jr. became Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly. You got all these people like they got the like they've been like hitting the pick of the litter of all this stuff because, and then to some degree that's luck because it's like, okay, we picked this guy, and it all worked out because they made a 10-year thing out of it.
Yeah,
they found their formula of what works, and guess what? They didn't just keep remaking that same exact formula. The basic like rudimentary part of it, the skeletal frame of that formula is still there, but we changed shit inside of it so that it's not all the same thing all the time. And that's what happened with Marvel. DC kind of became its own casualty because it tried to catch up with Marvel. It should have figured out its own path of that.
I think popularity plays into it as well.
It does.
Think about this. I'm going to compare it back to DC.
Yeah, go ahead.
Iron Man and Cap. Arguably the biggest two actors right now, I'm going to say, in the MCU.
Yeah.
You've got Robert Downey Jr., you got Chris Evans. And look at their characters before a Marvel movie came out.
Yeah.
When that Iron Man movie was coming out, the biggest thing I know for me, I'm more of a DC guy, but like for me, it was like, I know who Iron Man is, but like...
I know of Iron Man.
I'm not expecting a lot out of this. It's an Iron Man movie. Like, what else could it be? Whereas... a Batman movie, it's like, holy shit, here's a Batman movie. Here's what I expect. Yada, 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 yada. Like, Here's all the list of things that I can see. Same thing with Captain America. All right, let's see how this Captain America movie is. Superman movie comes out. All right, this is what I expect because Superman's a big name.
Doesn't help that. Go ahead. Go ahead and finish.
No.
Sorry.
Go what you were going to say, and then I'll say the next
Well,
point.
I was going to say, it doesn't help that, like, we have these predisposition of Superman and Batman because we've seen them in possibly comic books as of back then.
They're just so popular, like, to the general fan, I feel, too.
For one of each, we've had at least one TV cartoon series. We've had the Justice League and the Justice League Unlimited. We had multiple Superman movies, multiple Batman movies before this DCEU even started.
I actually like that too. I like that point because it's something I didn't think about.
Like we have a predisposition to all these, so we have all these expectations we can take out of these two superheroes.
And of course,
and
like
boom.
we were both born in '90.
Yes.
So that kind of puts you where we would be, where we grew up.
Yeah.
DC was dominating, and I would say, at the time,
DC was dominating.
DC was dominating the animated game, animated movies, animated TV.
Because guys, we did actually have, and no one I talked to really remembers these. There was a Hulk cartoon out.
Yeah,
there was an Iron Man cartoon out.
I remember watching it as an adult and going, "What's this?"
Yeah, there's a Hulk cartoon out. I remember seeing it a little bit as a kid here and there, but it wasn't like readily available for some reason.
As a kid, the
Iron Man one as well. There was an Iron Man one.
Iron Man. Ching! Such a 90s intro.
I am Iron Man. Guitar solo.
Basically, that's what it is. But
the 90s.
Really, to me, there were only 2 Marvel animated series that I had to catch, and you could name them both.
Spider-Man and X-Men.
Spider-Man and X-Men. That was it.
Yep.
Like, those were the only 2. Whereas on DC, you had Batman the animated series, you had Superman the animated series, you had Justice League Unlimited, Teen Titans then, as we went into the 2000s. God, I'm trying to think if there was any. There was probably more that I watched that I just don't remember from DC, but like that alone beats out 2. And like Spider-Man and X-Men were amazing. I love those. And on top of that, you had the non-Marvel, non-DC Dragon Ball Z trying to compete with them. On top of that, you had on Fox, which was also with the Spider-Man and X-Men, the Power Rangers, which was competing with all that, but really that helped out X-Men and Spider-Man because it was on Fox just like they were. But DC was dominating. And the thing I'm going to pull it back in is Iron Man and Cap. There weren't expectations coming.
No, they're not. If there were, they weren't huge. Because
think about the last 2, or just this. Think about the biggest DC heroes right now in movies.
Right now, it's going to be Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
2 heroes
that have
really had no expectations coming in. First off, Aquaman was a joke. Let's be completely honest. Everyone
who knew
Aquaman
at that point, they turned him around.
Aquaman, but I'm saying like even before Justice League, like Aquaman's like you look at the Big Bang Theory and like the Halloween costumes. Oh, you're Aquaman, ha ha ha. Ooh, Aquaman, ha ha ha. Aquaman's been a joke. So that already sets up the expectations to where when you go into that movie, you go, holy crap, Aquaman's kind of cool.
It's fucking awesome.
Like the thing I was talking to Pete, and you weren't here for this. Dave and I were here, but I'll relay it to you because you were watching the movie with us. He was like, he just asked us, he goes, did your theater cheer out loud when Momoa broke into the submarine? And I was like, yep, there were a couple ladies in the back who were like, get it, Aquaman. He's like, okay. He goes, was not expecting that.
No.
Did not expect that to happen at a superhero movie.
No.
But that's like you said, they've changed the character. Wonder Woman. Where that movie, no expectations because yes, there are people out there that are like, Wonder Woman's my favorite hero. But overall, there was no real expectations. Plus, we were so low after BVS to where we needed something to pull us out. And now I would say Wonder Woman and Aquaman are your Cap and Iron Man right now? And is that a problem for the DCU? Does it need to be Batman and Superman?
It doesn't. I honestly, to go with what you have and work with that. You can bring back Batman and Superman eventually, but again, you have to remember there's a predisposition. There's a huge predisposition for those two because everyone and their mother has heard of who Batman and Superman are. They know something and some general knowledge about them. And as you've watched more of these things, have you, like us, we have a huge expectation of what the two of them would be. When we went to see Iron Man, to be fair, I liked Marvel, but I didn't know a lot about Iron Man because I didn't have a huge access to comic books at the time. Same with Cap. But I mean, when it came to Batman and Superman, I still knew a lot about them because of all the stuff I used to watch as a kid. So like that's the same with Wonder Woman and sort of with Aquaman. Aquaman's a little bit different because we have this predisposition. Oh, he's kind of a, pardon my language, he's sort of a pussy.
Yeah.
He's sort of a bitch. He's sort of a joke. Wonder Woman, you didn't really have, like, it was kind of the same as Iron Man and Cap.
But like even look at, and I'll throw Dave into this.
Yeah.
Why Dave wasn't happy with the DCEU Flash. Because in his head, he has an image of what the Flash is.
And that's what's going to happen.
That does not fit his image.
And see, that's going to happen with certain fanboys. Like for example, I knew more about Wolverine than any other X-Men or any other Marvel characters that were like not mainstream.
Arguably got lucky with
I got lucky with Hugh Jackman. Well, I was happy with it.
Fox got lucky that Hugh Jackman turned into what he could be.
Exactly.
Because like if Hugh Jackman doesn't fit that role like a freaking glove.
Yeah.
Like think about all the Batmans we have. Has any of them fit Batman like a freaking glove?
I would leave that one up to you.
I would say no. None of them have fit like to me, because you can talk about the Wolverine side.
Yeah.
But to me, and I know the voice isn't it, but the like demeanor is.
Yeah.
To me, the quintessential Batman will always be BVS, or not BVS, BTS, the animated series. Because the Kevin Conroy Batman, and I'm not saying the voice has to be exactly the same, but just the demeanor of Batman, where, yes, he was strong, but he used his detective skills, and he was very savvy, and he had, like, that soft-spoken voice that was, like, but really it was also, and here's another dynamic to Batman that Christian Bale hit, whether or not you like the voice was its own, of should Bruce have to change his voice as Batman? Whereas, could somebody listen to his voice? And Kevin Conroy did, where he made the Batman voice a little bit lower than the Bruce voice. But there's also that where it's like, okay, maybe I have to change the voice between the two so no one can ID me. Whereas with Wolverine, I'll let you talk. The same thing with like Hugh Jackman compared to what you saw from the animated
To be
series.
fair, it developed over time to be what it was by the end, like full out Wolverine. And my knowledge of Wolverine grew since then too, because I started reading more of the comics. I started reading Old Man Logan and all that. And that's the thing is, his demeanor as it went through the movies turned more and more into Wolverine, to where he had the savage side, but he also had like the soft side and the caring side, but also tried not to show it because of how much he was hurt over the years. He pulled all those parts into it. And yeah, the first one was like, oh, this is really cool. Gene Scott.
That just, when you said the soft side, I'm like, oh, that popped into my head for some reason. But go on.
But no, I mean, that I basically made my point, I think, is that he pulled all, like, he figured out all the aspects of being the Wolverine. And he portrayed it really well. And as it went through the movies, because he's been in every X-Men movie possible as Wolverine.
So I'm going to throw something out here.
Except for this coming one, maybe.
I'm going to throw out a plan.
Yeah.
And this is, they're not going to do this. But of course, this is like the wrestling version of fantasy booking.
Okay.
Where this would be my perfect plan for DC heading forward. Had to cough a little bit. Maybe need to get a drink of water in between segments. But
maybe.
So right now, we've got 6 individual movies planned between now and 2021. I'm going to take a second to read something on the podcast. And this is going to be a lot, but I want this story out there and then I'm going to talk about it. So here's the background, the storyline. The storyline was first mentioned at the conclusion of the Sinestro Corp War in Green Lantern Volume 4, number 29. As the war between the Green Lantern and Sinestro Corps reaches its climax, the 4 Green Lanterns of Earth, Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, John Stewart, and Kyle Rayner, are told by the Guardians, Gantlet, and Said of the Blackest Night prophecy. According to the prophecy, the 2 existing corps would be joined by 5 new ones, each driven by a specific emotion and empowered by a specific color of the emotional spectrum, leading to the War of Light that would subsequently destroy the universe. John says the prophecy has its origins in the story Tigers by Alan Moore, which touches on the rising up of the Guardians' enemies, the Weaponers of Quad, ranks the Solid City and the Children of the White Lobe, the destruction of the Green Lanterns, and shows how Hal Jordan, Sinestro, and Mogo dying. Both Jeff Johns and Ethan Van Sciver have said that Blackest Night is the 3rd part of the Green Lantern event trilogy that began since Rebirth. The reason why I read this was, here would be my plan.
Okay.
And this is if DC wants to do what Marvel has done.
Okay.
Like, not exactly like, yes, let's do exactly that, but the idea of, because in comics, we have these events, Secret Wars, Blackest Night, these like big events that go, they span different comics. They span over a long couple graphic novels.
Yeah.
To where this is a full series. This is an event that we were going with. Flashpoint was a little contained into one. So that's why that would be just its own movie. But here's what I would do.
Okay.
Keep the solo movies going. But with when you start the Green Lantern Corps movie, make that the beginning of something bigger where you're not announcing it. It's not like, hey, we're going to do this trilogy. No. You use that movie to show us Hal Jordan and to show us the John Stewart. But you can also at the end show us Sinestro. You don't need a second movie to have them go against Sinestro. You could just have Sinestro. We know who Sinestro is. Mention him at the beginning. He finds the power ring at the end, or the yellow ring at the end. They fight at the end of the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would do is your next Justice League type thing would be throughout these separate movies. Maybe it's just the Green Lantern movies moving forward and then some individual movies, the Blackest Night storyline. Because when you get to the actual Blackest Night graphic novels, that's everybody. And of course, that is something that it's really big. And of course, when you get to that level, it's kind of like an Infinity War Endgame type of payroll, because you're going to have Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash. You're going to have all these people in this movie. But I wonder, like, if that's the goal. Just keep these single individual movies. Oh, Shazam as well, because he's in there. Keep all these individual movies just kind of going. But if you want to lay down the track for a Justice League movie, that is what you do. Like, it doesn't have to be Blackest Night. That's the example I'm using. But set up a Justice League story that starts with one, gets hinted over here, eventually becomes the climax in a Justice League movie, and then it can end right there, and poof, you're gone.
So I want to add something to yours because I liked it. So remember how we get we usually only have one Green Lantern in the Justice League at a time. The way to kind of separate the two, John Stewart, and have a buddy cop, and then at the end they kind of split, fighting Sinestro, but also kind of wrapping that not John Stewart, Hal Jordan gets kind of like taken over or whatever happens to him with Parallax.
Okay.
And have that how it breaks it, and John Stewart goes to Earth, becomes part of the Justice League, and Make the side story of Hal Jordan and Parallax, or just make it nothing.
Because, like, I'm looking at it here.
Yeah.
There are numerous ones. Like, Crisis on Infinite Earths they're not going to do because the CW is doing that.
Yeah.
Blackest Night's interesting. I throw that out, but, like, you could even do Sinestro Corp Wars.
Yeah.
But that could be, like, a Green Lantern contained story, and then it goes into Blackest Night that brings out the Justice League. I'm trying to look here for some more of them. This is giving me, like, Civil War would be like a Flashpoint, where that's a self-contained movie. You know what I would love to see, actually?
Huh.
And this goes against what I just said with the Blackest Night, but it just popped into my head. Give me a Superman movie. Give me Red Sun. Are you familiar with the story of Red Sun? So,
oh, excuse me. No, not really.
The story of Red Sun, alternate universe. What if Superman landed in Russia and not in America?
No, I do, yeah. I do remember that one.
Give me that. Give me that movie.
That would be interesting.
Of a Russian Superman.
That'd also be a one-shot, I feel like, too, though.
Exactly. No, but that's what you're doing right now. Like Wonder Woman 1984. 84, 85, whatever.
My bad.
The Shazam movie. If you're doing this one shot. Even like the Joker, which is the Joaquin Phoenix one.
Yeah.
Give me that one shot. Give me that. Superman as a Russian? Like, I know that spoiler alert for Red Sun if you never read it. The thing that Mark and I didn't like about it was at the end of it. Do you care if I spoil it for you?
Go ahead.
I should have asked that before I go into it. But at the end of it, it kind of creates a time loop where it's like, kind of like, oh, here it starts and then it goes back. And it kind of seemed kind of like, really? That's your ending? Like, it's a time, like, really, there's no real ending. It's just a time loop kind of a thing. So, I mean, it really turned us off in the end.
Yeah.
But I loved Russian Batman with his winter hat on.
Yeah.
As I say, a German accent that would not fit in Russia. But yeah, like, to kind of bring it back to the main question to end this is, will the Batman affect what they're doing? I'm going to say yes and no.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I feel like it's going to keep them on this path of single movies. Hell, it could even be a thing of like, we're going to give Matt Reeves 3 movies. Is it a trilogy? Maybe you got 3 movies to tell your story.
Do whatever you want to do with it.
It's not going to lead to anything. Or they can say, hey, let's have these individual movies, and then eventually we will plant seeds leading to a bigger event.
Yeah, we want
to
eventually.
Final thoughts?
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. It's not going to change anything when it comes to storyline necessarily, but like it might change their dynamic, and I think that's already started when they started doing Aquaman and Wonder Woman, and like realizing no, maybe we should maybe focus more on individual movies
because we didn't even get real Black Manta in Aquaman.
No,
like,
we got
Black Manta, but it wasn't like Black Manta against Aquaman.
Yeah, it wasn't full out Black Manta v Aquaman. It was the start of Black Manta, which was a good way of. I think it was a good way of doing it.
We're gonna get that in 2 now.
Yeah,
and it makes me want to see Black Manta because although he looked like a Power Ranger, he looked boss.
Yeah, and also he's gonna
boss.
Also, he's really gonna like have a lot more to go against Aquaman and a lot more to want, like a lot more hatred towards him now. He has a lot more anger towards him now. But I think it would be a good way to do it, but just have like the underlying, like the first this whole first 10 years of Avengers and Marvel movies has all been one underlying big thing in the long run. Make that the DC part of it, if they really want to connect everything back. This is when we get our Justice League movie, when something really big is going to happen.
Where you're basically like, think about it this way, where Marvel didn't say, here's Thanos.
Yeah.
They just started planting little seeds and seeing if it works.
We didn't see Thanos. We didn't see anything of Thanos until
the Avengers movie.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't hear about Thanos till the Avengers movie.
And even that, like, not even the creator of Thanos knew Thanos was going to be in that movie.
Exactly. We just saw him turn and smile, and that was all we got of him.
God, look back at that Thanos and then look at the Thanos that we have now. They are vastly different.
Yeah.
But any final thoughts before we move on into some good old Birds of Prey?
No, I think we're good.
Well, this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below in the comment section. Let us know what you think about all of this going on with the Batman movie. Will it affect the DC future movies? Will it not? Let us know down below.